Now the starting lineup, batting first and playing center field from the San Francisco Giants. Here is Willie Mays. Batting second and playing right field from the Milwaukee Braves. Here is Hank Aaron. He'll be in right field batting second, Aaron. Willie Stargell playing left field from the Pittsburgh Pirates and batting third, Willie Stargell. Here is Richie Allen, who will be batting fourth and playing third base, Richie Allen. Joe Torre batting fifth and catching from the Milwaukee Braves, Joe Torre. Ernie Banks batting sixth from the Chicago Cubs, playing first base. Here is Pete Rose, the second baseman. He'll be batting seventh from the Cincinnati Reds. Maury Wills from the Los Angeles Dodgers, batting eighth and playing shortstop, Maury Wills. And there is Juan Marichal, the pitcher who just threw the ball, number 27. That's Juan Marichal, who will be the starting pitcher. So there you have the National League. Here's the starting lineup for the American League, batting first and playing shortstop from the Detroit Tigers, Dick McAuliffe. Dick McAuliffe. Batting second, Brooks Robinson, playing third base from the Baltimore Orioles. Harmon Killebrew from the Minnesota Twins. He'll be batting third and playing first base. Batting fourth, playing right field from the Cleveland Indians, Rocky Colavito. Batting fifth, playing left field, Willie Horton from the Detroit Tigers. Batting sixth, playing second base from the Boston Red Sox. Here is Felix Mantilla. Batting seventh and playing center field, Vic Davalillo from the Cleveland Indians. He'll be in center field. Batting eighth, there is Earl Batty, the catcher from the Minnesota Twins, Earl Batty. And pitching for the American League All-Stars will be Milt Pappas. There you see him as he just delivers a warm-up pitch.
This game is authorized under television rights granted by the Commissioner of Baseball solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Commissioner is prohibited. Any commercial or other use of the program, such as by charging admission for its showing, is similarly prohibited unless authorized in writing by the Commissioner. Well, here's Say Hey Willie Mays, the center fielder leading off. A rather strange spot for Willie, but things of that sort don't shake him up at all. All he knows is he's got a bat in his hands and there's someone out there about to throw a ball for him to hit.
Looks like he might have forgot his cap, too, Jack. He's wearing Billy Williams' protective helmet.
Willie batting .339 in regular season play and leading the National League in homers. And he fouls one out of play to start the ball game. Mays has belted 23 home runs. And, of course, his last minor league station was here in Minneapolis, where he was hitting .477 in the association before being called up to the then New York Giants. So Pappas out in front of him. A well-hit ball. Davalillo is going to get it, evidently, the way he's moving by the fence, but it may be gone, and it is. That's the way the ball game starts. Well, that's the way the 1965 All-Star game starts. Davalillo went back to the fence as though he had a play. But Mays socked one out of here, and Joe had told you earlier that it's a hitter's ballpark, and Willie Mays backed you up, Joe.
Jack, the ball seems to jump out of here. It has to be a thing where you keep that ball low, you get about the belt high, and it's a high pitch, and it'll just jump out of here. It's a hitter's ballpark. Good background and nice light air for these guys.
The batter now is Hank Aaron. He's capable of doing the same thing, and by the way, what a show these fellas put on during batting practice today. Aaron takes one low. He's hitting .326. A bit disappointed in his showing so far this year, notably in runs batted in. Pappas threw it by him, 1-1. Pappas said before the game he wasn't going to try to be cute, he was just going to stand out there and fire. Well, he didn't fire hard enough when he faced Mays, and the National League is out in front, 1-0. Aaron fouled it back, hit it off the fist, and it's 1-2. Aaron has 17 home runs this year. Nobody on or out, and a run home on Willie Mays' homer. Pappas is working with considerable rest, which is always a problem in these all-star games. But both managers have well-rested pitchers to choose from. Curveball missed, and it's 2-2 to Hank. Playing just about straight away, has power to all fields. 3-2 now, a full count. You might see a lot of low pitches today, and that plate umpire is going to have quite a job in his hands, talking about John Stevens calling the balls and strikes, because both pitchers will have to really concentrate on keeping that ball down. It's only 344 down the line in the left. There's a fly ball to left field. It's going to be caught by Willie Horton. A few of the fans groaned. They thought it was 2-0. But Willie Horton caught it for the first out of the ball game.
Jack, they have a feature here, the instant tape measure. As soon as the home run is hit, Willie Mays' home run was hit 415 feet. They have that left field section all marked with the distances, so the minute the ball lands, they know exactly where the ball, how far it traveled.
There's Milt Pappas. Served up the home run ball, and here's Willie Stargell, who takes him on now. Willie Stargell of the Pirates, hitting .290, but with great production, 66 RBIs. High and away. He has power to all fields, too, although the outfield here, American Leaguers play him to pull. They give him a lot of room in the left field corner and in left center. And this Pirate outfielder can stroke the ball in that direction. Low inside, ball 2. Here's a replay on the home run. You saw how far back W went to try to get it. That was the home run by Willie Mays, which started this ball game. And now back to Stargell, and there's a base hit to center field as he stroked it cleanly to center. So these National Leaguers are jumping on Pappas in the first inning. That's their second hit. And around to the cleanup hitter, and what an honor it is to bat fourth in this lineup. Third baseman of the Philadelphia Phillies, Richie Allen, batting .328.
Jack, I think the first 6 fellas in the National League lineup have batted cleanup for their own teams at one time or another.
This is one of them right here, Allen. They play him to pull. Stargell at first, 1 out. Oh, boy, they're really teeing off up there. They're digging in and really having their cuts.
Usually you don't have many signs, boy. Just turn them loose right here. And this Allen, one of the strong men, always plays in a long-sleeve sweatshirt. I asked his manager about it, and he says he doesn't know why. If he had arms like Allen, he'd want to show them off. In fact, he describes Allen as saying he's got arms like legs.
And he's doing a much better job at third base for the Phillies this year. Little wonder that he is the all-star third baseman. Stargell at first, 1 out. 0 away, evens the count 1-1. Joe, imagine in a game like this, these pitchers would be a bit hesitant to move these hitters back, throw at any of the hitters. unless Mays and Stargell and the others keep ripping, and Pappas may have to change his tactics out there. 1-1 the count to Allen. That's popped up. He got him for the second out, and Dick McAuliffe is going to get it. And there are 2 out. Allen popped out to short. Runner at first, 2 gone now. And to the plate from the Milwaukee Braves, the catcher, Joe Torre. Joe's hit 17 home runs this year. Stargell at first, holding him close is Killebrew. There are 2 men gone. 1 run home on Willie Mays, leadoff homer. I guess Dean Mock knew what he was doing when he put Willie in that leadoff spot.
His explanation was pretty simple, too. He said, if it comes in the late innings, I want the big sluggers up there, and the best way to do it is to put them at the top of the lineup.
Short lead by Stargell. 0 for a ball. Had a tremendous rainstorm here last night in the Twin Cities area. A few drops of rain this morning, but the sun's shining brightly now, and it's about 80 degrees. Torrey takes it inside, ball 2. You've got to get ahead of these hitters. The same will apply to Marichal when he takes to the mound. Torrey will go the other way with that ball occasionally, but On a 2-0 count, he'll be looking for a ball to pull. There it goes, high and down the line. Horton back, that's gone if it's fair. And it is a home run, and it's 3-0. Torrey golfed one high into the air and just inside the line, scoring Stargell ahead of him. And Milt Pappas of Baltimore has been greeted with 2 home runs and a single, and the American League is 3 runs down at the moment.
Jack, it's a ball club. It's a National League lineup that you have to walk 8 fellas to get to the one guy you want to pitch to, and Marichal is a pretty good hitter. A lot of power in this lineup.
He's talking with Marichal. There's the blast again by Torrey. He really got out in front and pulled that ball. And now Ernie Banks drills a line drive to left for a base hit in front of Horton. And that is the 4th hit of the inning. Ernie Banks singles with 2 men out. Here's Pete Rose. Pete having a great year. .299 is his batting average. Banks at first, 2 out. Ball 1. Second base was the most hotly contested position for the National League, with fellows like Bill Mazeroski and Frank Bowling contended. There's action in the American League bullpen, as you would suspect. Here's a look in at Rose with Batty the catcher. Ball 2. He'll shop around up there. He's not a wild swinger by any means.
Jack, with all these home runs, there is Mudcat Grant, the Minnesota Twins. With all these home runs flying around, you get the feeling if you hit a single, you're really in a slump or breaking up the rally?
They make you look bad, but maybe these fellows will do something on their own later. 2 out, a runner at first, ball 3 to Rose. Banks stays at first. The ball just rolled a few feet away from Batty, 3-0. Rose is a switch hitter, batting left-handed against Pappas. Mays started the ball game with a home run into left center. Aaron flied to left. Stargell singled. Allen popped out. Torrey homered, making it 3-0. Banks singled. He's at first with 2 out, and there's 3-1 now on Pete Rose. Of course, the crowd here will be predominantly American League. Never fear, though, these American Leaguers have some power of their own. Out of play, 3-2. All these fellows, these American Leaguers, can come right back and match them, although you would doubt it, but you wouldn't think the Pappas would be slugged around the way he has been.
I tell you, when you look at Killebrew and Colavito and Horton, it can happen.
The runner at first base, Banks, will be going with the pitch. 3-2 is the count. There are 2 men out. Killebrew is playing behind Banks, knowing that he'll be going. He's trying to protect against the left-handed batter, Rose. Rose has occasional power, 3 home runs. The runner going, and Rose fouls it back and out of play. So we'll do it again. This is the 36th annual All-Star Game. At the moment, it's somewhat of a rubber game because each team is 117. One game was played to a tie. At one time, the American League had a 12-4 edge. The National Leaguers, as of late, have been red hot in these All-Star Classics and have caught them. Whoever wins here will go out in front, and if it's the National League, it'll be the first time that they have ever led in the series. Banks will go again, and Rose takes ball 4. So there are 2 on and 2 out, and the 8th man to bat for the National League will come to the plate. Earl Batty strolls toward the mound to return the ball to Pappas. A few words of advice for him. He glanced over toward the dugout, Batty did, as he went out. Tough inning for Pappas. Here is Maury Wills. Maury's going to have to be swinging away here. He's batting .275. Ordinarily, you don't know what to expect from him at the plate. He's a switch hitter also. But with 2 out and the pitcher coming up next, he'll have to go for that full swing, and he taps it back to Pappas, and the inning is going to be over. Even Wills can't beat that one out. And so the National League gets 3 runs on 4 hits, and they leave 2 on. And the end of the first half inning, the score of the National League 3, the American League coming to bat.
Hey, what kind of a car is that?
A 65 Plymouth, a Plymouth Valiant.
Yeah? How do you like it?
Great. Easy to handle, doesn't cost much, easy on gas, great compact.
Sharp looking, too. How about power?
What?
Hey, wait a minute!
65 Plymouth Valiants attract attention wherever they go. And now you can get big cleanup savings on just the Valiant you want. The 65 model year is almost over, and the 65s have to go. Get cleanup savings on all 18 Valiant models while you still have a wide selection to choose from. It's cleanup time on all the roaring 65s, now at your Plymouth dealers.
Back the National League defense as the American Leaguers come to bat. First base, Ernie Banks. At second base, Pete Rose. At shortstop, it's Maury Wills. And at third base, Richie Allen. Around the outfield and left, it's Willie Stargell, Willie Mays in center, Hank Aaron in right. The catcher, Joe Torre, and Juan Marichal is on the mound. Marichal, a season's mark of 14-7. Coaches for the American League, it's Sam Mealy, the manager of the Twins at first, and Don Gutteridge of the White Sox coaching at third. The leadoff hitter is Dick McAuliffe of the Tigers. And a ball from Marichal, who slipped and fell as he delivered the ball. Marichal, with that big follow-through of his, had his front foot, his left foot, give out from under him as he delivered the ball. And he went down to his knee, but evidently he's all right.
Jack, that dark ring that we have seen around the mound, they keep it that way all the time, and they wet it down. And Marichal, with that big high kick, as you mentioned, just lost his balance. I tell you, you get the feeling you're hitting uphill when you watch him pitch.
Some exaggerated motion on this fellow. And it really pays off, of course. The next one to McAuliffe. It's high on this ball, too. You'll seldom see Marichal get behind hitters. McAuliffe batting .298. How would you describe his batting stance?
It's a modified John L. Sullivan stance.
He's belted 11 home runs. Good production for a shortstop, trying to get on and get something started. Marichal missed the corner, and it's 3-0. He gave you the American League batting order earlier. Quickly again, it's McAuliffe, Robinson, and Killebrew. If anybody gets on in this inning, call a veto. We could see Marichal with that big follow-through of his. And a strike call. He can throw a strike when he has to. 3-1. To play McAuliffe to pull. This is his first All-Star game. Peppery little shortstop. Adds a lot of life to a ball club. 3-1. And it's a foul ball. There may be a play on it. Richie Allen, Maury Wills. Wills calls for it and has it. So Marichal, much in contrast to Pappas, gets the first man. McAuliffe fouled out to Maury Wills. Now here's the Baltimore Oriole third baseman, Brooks Robinson. He's hitting .229, a little bit off the pace he set last year. He was the most valuable player in the American League. Marichal throws a strike. You would think with the motion that Marichal employs, the base runners would run wild on him, but that isn't true. He's very cute out there in the mound. He's out in front of this hitter. Slow. It's 1-1. And now with the National League out in front 3-0, you won't have to worry about that much, Joe.
No, he won't. He takes that bat right away from him as far as any hit-and-run plays or bunt plays or steal plays. You would think they'd be able to bunt more on him, Jack.
Robinson fouled it out of play. Banks chased over a few steps. It's out of play into the seats. A souvenir, which is really meaningful on a day like this. Marichal is out in front of the hitter, 1-2. One out, nobody on. 3-0, the National Leaguers lead on home runs. By Mays with the bases empty and by Joe Torre with a man on. Sidearm, curveball, and he popped it up into left center. Stargell coming in, Wills going out. Stargell calls for it and has it. 2 gone. One thing about that Wills, he can roam in that outfield. He's like another outfielder for you. There are 2 men out. Listen to the hand for Killebrew. Harmon really put these fans in the Twin City areas in the mood for this ball game with a big home run Sunday. And a fly ball for Willie Mays. You want to watch a basket catch? Attaboy, Will. 1, 2, 3, down they go. And so at the end of the first inning, the score of the National League 3, the American League 0. who has compiled a pitching mark of 9-2, is on the mound. At the plate, it's Juan Marichal of the Giants, a National League hurler, who really prides himself in his hitting, and he can swing the bat. Grant has come up with a much improved curveball. It's made him a big winner this year. One of the prime reasons why the Minnesota Twins are in first place in the American League. Let's watch him work on Marichal. They play way around to the right. Popped it foul back. Batty chases it, no play. There's a lot of room to roam for foul balls in this ballpark.
Hitters don't like that, but the catchers don't mind it.
He's a very congenial fellow, this Grant is. Credits Johnny Callison, the pitching coach of the Twins, with his improvement. There's the curveball, but it went low, and it's 1-1. He always could throw hard. It will be Marichal, Mays, and Aaron. In case you just tuned in, Mays homered to start this game, and later, with 1 on and 2 out, Joe Torre belted a home run. Right up the middle, base hit. Marichal just took a half swing, but happened to get good wood on the ball and smacked it past Grant into center field, and the National Leaguers are off and running again. That's their 5th hit. And to the plate, the fellow who started this game in such auspicious fashion, Willie Mays. Imagine anybody asking Willie Joe if he was going to play in this game with that injury that he had.
Remember what he said in the lobby this morning? He said, play, I'll be there. Of course, Mock says Mays, like Mantle, could limp to the Hall of Fame.
And that's where he's headed. Grant curved him, missed, ball 1. Willie Mays. Saw him recently in a series in St. Louis, and he was playing right field because he had an injury. Seemed strange not to see him in center. Another breaking ball. It's ball 2. And Willie, wearing a Chicago Cub helmet, looks down at Bobby Bragan to see if he can have a cut at this one. Killebrew at first base is playing behind the runner, Marichal. He won't be running. Hitting room through the right side for Mays. But he doesn't want to go the other way. Curveball stayed inside and up 3-0. And again, Willie looks.
They want to hit. They want to hit. That's why they got on that plane to get here, is to swing the bat.
He had a long look at Bragan, and it wouldn't be surprising to see him turn loose in this situation. Ball 4. So Willie is on twice. And the first 2 men have reached for the National League in the 2nd inning.
Number 44.
And if they're able to cash in on this scoring opportunity, the American League will really be in bad shape. 2 on and nobody out. And Hank Aaron, who flied to left his first time, is the batter. Star right fielder of the Milwaukee Braves, a fellow who can do everything, one of those complete ball players you hear about. And there's his shot foul down into the corner, out of play. They play Aaron to pull. Hits the ball to all fields. Grant steps off. Marichal plays a little game with him down there at second. With the score being what it is, 3-0, you don't look for much running on the part of either ball club now. Breaking ball went low. 2-1. 1-1, excuse me. Aaron went for the first one, fouled it. It's 1-1. Marichal at second base. And Willie Mays at first. Nothing doing in either bullpen at the moment. Curveball over but low, ball 2. Mudcat Grant. First name Jim, used to be with the Indians. Found a home here with the Twins. There's a bouncing ball. Maybe they'll get 2. Mantilla relays, they got them both. Ball wasn't sharply hit, so you didn't know if they'd be able to double up Aaron, who gets down to first base well. Marichal advances to third with 2 out. As Aaron grounded into a double play from Brooks Robinson to Felix Mantilla on to Killebrew. 2 out. And Willie Stargell is the batter. Single up the middle his first time. Before the game, there was a band beyond the center field fence 430 feet away. And during batting practice, Stargell scattered them with a shot over the fence. There's another hit for him. Oh, foul. He really sprays that ball around with strength, and that ball was barely foul. So Grant's out in front of him. Marichal at third with 2 gone. 66 runs batted in for Stargell. Curveball, fouled, rolling back, and that's strike 2. Activity once again for the American League in their bullpen now. Pappas started. Grant came on in this inning. They haven't scored on Grant in the spring. And Pete Rickard, the left-hander of Washington, is getting ready. 0-2 the count. There's Marichal with a lead. Stargell blasts one into right center. No one's going to get it, and it may be gone, and it is. Into the bullpen for a home run, making it 5-0. Willie Stargell joins Willie Mays and Joe Torre with a home run. That's the third of the game for the National Leaguers, and it's a 5-0 ball game. With 4 of the runs, by the way, having been scored with 2 men out. So Stargell, after trying to go the other way with Grant, got around on one and blasted it into the bullpen, well over 400 feet, scoring Marichal ahead of it. And now the batter is Allen, and the strike is called. So 3 National League home runs. Change up, strike 2. Grant changed up. Allen missed, and it's 0-2. He was out in front of Stargell, too. But he let him get away. So Grant is being treated as Pappas was. Curveball, and Allen fans. So he's 0 for 2. And for the National League in the second, 2 runs on 2 hits. At the end of an inning and a half, the score of the National League 5, the American League nothing. There are no changes for the National League. He's there in the field in the bottom of the second, and leading off, Rocky Colavito. Colavito back with the Indians, 20 home runs. Batting .296, and Marichal on the mound. And this is outside. Colavito, see what he can do about trying to whittle into that 5-0 lead. Play him as a dead pull hitter. And he changed up and got it in there. 1-1. That's what makes this Marichal so tough.
Good control of breaking stuff. I tell you, Jack will make him real tough, and the way he hides the ball is a big thing.
1-1 to Colavito. Another change up in there at the letters. Johnny Stevens called it a strike. Colavito talks to him about it. Maybe just commenting on the pitch rather than the call, and it's 1-2. No matter what the count, you're liable to get any pitch from Marichal. Fastball, curveball, slider, change, screwball. He throws them all, and he gets them all over. And he seldom gives you a ball to hit. Sidearm curve and an easy ground ball to Maury Wills, a big hop. 1 out. Here's Willie Horton. Willie has come on to be quite an attraction in the American League. He may turn out to be one of the great sluggers of the game.
One of these strong men in the league. Looks like the back page of one of those magazine ads, sending for muscles.
1 out and nobody on. Missed outside. Joe, if they call Orlando Cepeda the baby bull, this guy's got to be the big one, eh?
Oh, man, I tell you, he is really strong, Jack.
He's hit 20 home runs this year. Play him way around. And a breaking ball is in there. 1-1.
They were kidding him around the batting cage that they found 2 of his muscles. He left them in the locker room.
He really looks like power when he digs in. There's that bat way back. Fastball, ground ball, Wills. And there are 2 out. Both from Wills to Banks. And Marichal is retired 5 men in a row. The most he can work is 3 innings, as you know. And the National League bullpen is active once more as Gene Mock, the manager of the All-Stars, cranks up another hurler. This is Felix Mantilla. batting .316. Joe, he must have changed considerably since we saw him in the National League.
He hardly strides with his batting stride and makes good contact, Jack.
Low for a ball.
He just lifts that front foot up and practically puts it down in the same spot. He's tough to fool. And when he swings, he usually hits the ball.
2 out, nobody on. A tap, and Torrey is there. And a good grab with the bare hand, and Marichal has retired 6 in a row. And so at the end of the second inning, the score is the National League 5, the American League nothing.
We thought you might be interested in some stainless steel razor blade tests. That was the guillotine test. Seems tests are very big on TV these days. That was the spark test. And this is the teeter-totter test. And so on. Gillette doesn't put much stock in tests like these, though we've won our share. All of them put together don't tell us as much as the very simple test Gillette calls the man test. You take all the stainless steel blades and put them in stores and wait and see which stainless blades most men want to shave with week after week after week. Gillette wins the man test.
Grant is about to work his second inning, and Torrey leads off. And Grant shakes him up. That's the item we were talking about before, Joe. I wanted to loosen up these hitters a little.
Politely called effective wildness. There's this rhythmic tap that he does, Jack. He taps twice.
And pitches, and Torrey misses. 1-1.
It's funny how certain hitters will do different things to get the groove. Grant, as a pitcher, does it by tapping twice to get the right feel.
And it's been working for him this year. He's 9-2. 1-1 to Torrey leading off. Curveball. Good. Downer curveball that time. That ball really fell. 1-2. So the National League is trying to grab the lead against the American in games played for the first time. There's a curveball and a line drive to Brooks Robinson. Curveball, and he got it up, and Torrey lined it right at Robinson. So that's the first out in the third inning. And here's the first baseman of the Chicago Cubs, Ernie Banks. He got a base hit his first time.
Jack, talk about rhythmic things. I like the way Banks fingers that bat right before the pitcher's ready to throw the ball, constantly moving.
And the pitch to him is in there, a breaking ball from Grant. There's that thumb wiggling around, Joe.
Yeah, like a piccolo player that might have missed the parade.
This is one of the happiest men in baseball, Ernie Banks. Great attitude about the game. Low and away. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Did you hear him on the bench today? He said baseball is bigger than all of us. We think we're important because they come out to see us, but we quit and they still come out. They come out to watch baseball. He had a 20-minute speech on it. Look at his hands.
1-1 pitch. He missed a breaking ball. Joe, the one item may apply to Pappas and also to Grant in the first inning that Grant worked, and that's the nervousness of being on an all-star game in a big crowd like this, even though they are professionals. Curveball, Banks laid off 2-2.
It's the old, I guess, line is the best way to put it, Jack. It's like any other game that you'll never forget the rest of your life. They're all nervous. They were laughing at things and saying things they wouldn't ordinarily be doing during the regular season.
2 balls, 2 strikes. 1 out. Nobody on, and he got him on a breaking ball. That's the second strikeout of the ball game for Grant. You'll wonder, however, if the damage already done may not be enough for the American League with Marichal pitching, and Mark told me before the game he wasn't sure of who his second pitcher will be. He thought it would be Maloney. Here's Pete Rose. He walked his first time up. It's not unusual for him. He really looks him over up there. He looked over a strike that time and overlooked the strike. 2 out, nobody out. Grant trying to set down the National Leaguers in order for the first time. Breaking ball on the corner, strike 2. of ball. These fences are so close, 344 in left and 330 down the line in right, that the entire playing field seems quite compact to the point where even the pitcher's mound seems to be closer to the plate than other ballparks. 1 and 2, 2 and 2.
Be surprised how close that mound can get when you hit about 220, Jack. Like hitting a telephone booth with a pencil.
How do you know?
How do I know? That's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
2 and 2 to Rose. And he got him. That's the third strikeout. Batty had to tag him, missed him, throws to Killebrew, and that's it. Down in order go the National Leaguers for the first time. And so at the end of 2.5 innings, score the National League 5, the American League nothing. Leading off for the American Leaguers from Cleveland, the center fielder, Vic Davalillo, hitting .321. The third baseman, Richie Allen, guarding against the bunt. He's way in. He's about 7 steps in front of the bag at third. Davalillo can run. Hits it up the middle, and there's the first hit for the American League. Davalillo is an interesting little character. He used to be a pitcher. And now, another favorite of the Twins, their catcher, Earl Batty. The American League has to put a few hits together to get back into the ballgame. And Mudcat Grant is finished. He'll be lifted for a pinch hitter next. It's the first base runner against Marichal. High. Torrey looked him over. But trailing 5-0. The American Leaguers have to sit still and hope for those base hits. Banks holding the runner. Ball 2. Marichal, hopeful of the double play ball. There's Al Kaline. He'll be pinch hitting for Jim Grant, which means a new pitcher for the American League in the 4th inning. And that will be their third pitcher of the ballgame. On 2-0, a strike is called. Double play ball to Wills, to Rose, 2 out. An easy double play on a ball hit by Batty. Wills to Rose to Banks. And the fans sit back in the seats. They were on the edge for a moment, thinking perhaps they had something going. Nonetheless, Kaline is going to pinch hit. Despite the 2 out, nobody on situation. Al Kaline of the Tigers. Hitting an even .300 this year. Strike is called. Knee high on the corner. 5-0, the National League leads. They got 3 in the first, 2 in the second. They've out-hit the American Leaguers 6-1. It's in the dirt, 1-1. The ball is a hot potato out there. Torrey couldn't handle it, and Marichal missed the return throw. Play Canine to pull. Missed the corner. 2-1.
Well, with that center field shot, Jack, it's not only a case of good stuff. You don't know from where he's going to throw it. Sidearm, under his leg, over his leg, behind his head.
And a ground foul, 2-2. It's amazing that Marichal stays in the good physical shape that he does. You'd think his pitching habits would raise havoc with his back. He does demand a little more rest than most starting pitchers. For the most part, stays hale and hearty. Throws high, full count.
So you got to be in good shape just to do the wind-up without throwing the ball, because he's a chiropractor's delight, this guy.
3-2 to Kaline, pinch hitting. And great stop by Allen. He threw him out. Allen made a good play behind third base to get the pinch hitter Al Kaline. No runs and 1 hit.
Here is Wills. Have a pinch hitter coming out in the on-deck circle. Ball 1. Maury Wills, there is Cookie Rojas of the Philadelphia Phillies. He will be the pinch hitter for Marichal. 1 ball, 1 strike. Maury Wills has his base stealing technique down to such a perfection. I was kidding him if he uses special intersoles for special fields. And don't you know that he came back and said yes, and on a field like this one, he takes his intersoles out. Strike 2. I asked him why, and he says he likes to feel the ground, but on a soft infield, he likes the innersoles.
It's a former teammate of his, Pete Rickard, out there pitching against him.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
I know that neither you or I are rooting for any particular ball club here, but I'd sure like to see Wills get on base, and I'm sure each of the 45,000 fans in this ballpark feels the same way. Only about 25 guys feel differently.
Especially the catcher. High. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Wills. Remember last week in Pittsburgh, they tried to stop him by loading up between first and second. Usually it's a pitch out that will stop him. They tried it with 4 wheelbarrows of dirt, and Maury said he got down to his ankles before he got the firm ground. Fly ball down the right field line. Colavito's got room and makes the catch. So Wills is out, and that's the first out. And here is Cookie Rojas. R-O-J-A-S, Rojas. That's your department, Jack.
He's done a great job, this fellow, playing center field and second base. He's pretty well knocked Tony Taylor out of the starting second base job with the Phillies. Loves to play the game. He has a great attitude, and he's hitting at the 300 mark for Gene Mock, and little wonder that Mock named him to the All-Star team.
Rojas hitting .302. 5-0, the National League leading. There's one to center field that Davalillo is waiting for, and there are 2 outs. Rojas flies to Davalillo, 2 away, and here comes Willie Mays.
Number 24, Willie Mays.
Willie opened this game with a home run, and that gave him the record for the most base hits. He walked. For a while, it looked like Willie might not be able to start. Strike 1, a fastball. He slid into the catcher, Pat Corrales, over at Philadelphia, and Gene Mock said he was 4 feet in the air, hit my catcher in the jaw with 1 foot, and how he managed to touch home plate at the same time, I'll never figure out. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 outs, top of the 4th, 5-0, National League leading.
You know, this Rickard isn't afraid to throw that fastball. He challenges these hitters.
He plays that good old country hardball, Jack, rear back and fire. Look at Willie. Willie needed a pick, a shovel, and an axe to hit that one. He really went after. That was a high-hanging curveball. That's the kind you pick up the phone for, and you say, room service, set up a high curveball. Oh, did he have a cut at that one?
He'll be moaning about that one after the game. His voice will go up about 3 octaves, and he'll say, how did I miss that ball?
Watch this replay when he jumps both feet off the ground. Whoops, look out there. Almost needed a snorkel. And Willie Mays is out on strikes and politely lays his helmet and the bat at home plate. And so, at the end of 3.5 innings, the score, the National League 5 and the American League nothing.
New Dodge Custom 880. In this case, a wagon. A great wagon. Commands a healthy following. Purebred all the way. For looks or performance. New Dodge Custom 880. Room, all kinds. For all kinds of passengers. Ride, might as well have wings. Power, 383 cubic inches standard. More if you want it. New Dodge Custom 880 coming on big for 65.
Jim Maloney, the new pitcher coming in for the National League. 5 runs, 6 hits, no errors for the National League. No runs, 1 hit, no errors for the American League. The one American League hit was a single by Davalillo. And here is Dick McAuliffe. McAuliffe fouled out his first time up. He's got that funny little stance, but a very effective one. Looks like he's wound up too tight as he stands up there. And boy, when he springs loose, look out. Strike 1, a fastball.
Joe, there are no changes in the National League lineup. Mark said he was going all out to win this one. He wasn't concerned about any show.
Mark, a real competitor. Curveball, 1 ball, 1 strike. He always has been a battler. So if he's playing his sister Jax, he'd want to win. Line drive, right field, that's a base hit. Henry Aaron will have to cut it off. And McAuliffe is on with the second hit for the American League. There's Sam Mealy, number 14. Ernie Banks, the first baseman, as McAuliffe gets on. Brooks Robinson. Fella says the big difference in his hitting now is that he can lay off the high fastball. Most valuable player in the American League last year. And what a ball player. Fastball, a strike. Nobody out. 1 man on. Bottom of the 4th inning. National League 5, American League nothing. Two strikes. Brooks Robinson, the hitter.
Led the American League in RBIs last year with 118. There's only 25 this year, Joe. It's not quite on the pace.
He got him on a fastball. Maloney gets his first strikeout. Robinson's had a bad thumb, and that certainly has been a factor. Here is Harmon Killebrew. You talk about your strong men. Take a look at this fella. Bob Addy had a great description of Killebrew. He says that Killebrew looks like an untapped beer keg. Curveball outside, ball 1. Jack, you remember the great description Paul Richards had of Killebrew when he talking about his power? He said he could hit it out of any park in America, and that includes Yellowstone. Curveball, 1-1, 1 out. 1 man on, 5-0 National League leading, bottom of the 4th.
Starting in 59, he had 42 home runs, 31, 46, 48, and so on.
2 balls and a strike on Harmon Killebrew. Jim Maloney, the pitcher. Look at those arms. Get plenty of rest and get an air pump and blow up your arms like that. He's really strong. 3 balls and a strike. 5-0 National League leading. Killebrew took a good look at Don Gutteridge. I bet Al Lopez is playing it wide open. Started to swing, and John Stevens says he had gone around. So it's 3 balls, 2 strikes.
You know, I asked Stevens if he got help from the base umpires on that half swing. He said no. He said not only here today, but during the regular season. He said he's broken himself of that habit. He calls all the balls and strikes himself.
He called that one. Curveball hangs inside. It's ball 4. McAuliffe goes to second base. Killebrew goes to first base. And the American League has something going here with Rocky Colavito, the hitter. Rocky is all American League fans. I was going to say, familiar with the ritual. Now he'll fix his cap to the right side. Could never understand that, Jack. Why would he fix it on the side away from the pitcher? So funny to see him do that. He does it practically every time. Curveball low, ball 1. There's McAuliffe at second base and Killebrew at first base. 5-0 National League leading, bottom of the 4th. Good fastball, a good swing, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. And the Colavito gym class starts. Fastball misses. 2 balls, 1 strike. Look, he always acts like there's a coat hanger in his suit.
This Maloney will work just as fast as the hitter will let him. He likes to get that ball and come again.
Popped up to the right side. Ernie Banks drifting over. I doubt if he has a play. He won't. Colavito. Two-two pitch. Line drive, base hit. Here comes McAuliffe around to score. Killebrew stops at second as Mays gets the ball back. It's a 5-1 ball game. A fastball, and Colavito drives in the first run for the American League. There you see Colavito talking to Sam Mealy. And here is Willie Horton.
This fella can make a brand new ball game of it, and he's capable of it if he gets a hold of one of these Maloney pitches.
Tremendous power on both sides. And Willie Horton, who bounced out to Maury Wills his first time up. Oh, brother. Did you see that cut? That was strength against strength, and Maloney won that time, but Willie Horton was not cheated at all. He must have popped 2 or 3 buttons on his shirt swinging at that one. 1 strike. It gets away from Torrey. The runners will advance. Killebrew rounds third, but he'll hold on. That was a straight change as Maloney slowed up on his fastball. Really got it up there. And it is ruled a wild pitch.
You know, I think the same thing is plaguing Maloney as bothered Pappas, the starter, and Grant in his first inning of work. Because this isn't the Maloney that we usually see.
You have to have some feeling. It's not like any other game. Infield is back. 5-1's the score. National League leading. 1 ball, 2 strikes. A high hanging curveball. And the high-hanging curveball is the one that usually sends the manager to the water cooler and the pitcher behind third to back it up. Killebrew at third base, Colavito at second base. 1 man out. 1 ball, 2 strikes to count. 5-1 is the score. National League leading, bottom of the 4th. Did he swing? No, says John Stevens. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Willie Horton from the Detroit Tigers.
Maloney throws so hard that you have to go up there looking for the fastball. You're dead if you look for anything else. So when you get the fastball, sometimes it's a bad pitch and you go for it.
Bouncing ball to Banks. He's able to hold Killebrew at third base as he steps on first for the easy out. Killebrew had to remain at third, and of course Colavito remains at second. 2 outs. Here is Mantilla. He tapped in front of the plate, and Torrey made a fine play and was able to throw him out at first base. Mantilla has 12 home runs, 59 runs batted in for the season. Fastball outside, ball 1. Quite a story, this Mantilla. He's been around since '56. One ball, 1 strike. National League gets some action in the bullpen as Maloney is running into some trouble. Gutteridge coaching at third. Fly ball, center field. Willie Mays has the beat on it. When you see him tap that glove, you know he's got the radar on. That's the 3rd out. And so at the end of the 4th inning, the score is the National League 5, the American League 1. Top of the 5th inning, National League 5, the American League 1, and Henry Aaron is the hitter. Popped up. Brooks Robinson, Dick McAuliffe. Who's going to take charge? Now it's McAuliffe, and he makes the play. For a minute, they both were looking at the other fella. It's not a tough sky here. There are some clouds, which the ball players always look for to help on those pop flies. And they got them today. There's one out. Here is Willie Stargell, who singled to center field and scored, and then hit a 2-run homer in his second inning. Ball one. 46,706 here at the ballpark, Metropolitan Stadium. One ball, one strike. Well, next year the All-Star Game will be in a brand new ballpark in St. Louis, Jack.
Yes, sir, Joe. I'll be a part of the bicentennial celebration in the city of St. Louis. Was scheduled for Cincinnati, but those people graciously allowed St. Louis to have it next year.
Swing and a miss. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Stargell's been bothered off and on with a bad knee. He hasn't been able to play every day for the Pirates. He's in the groove now, though.
Here's the 1-2 pitch. The end of the bat.
Joe, like so many of the hitters, he said he always knew he could hit against the left-handers, and they never gave him a chance until this year, and it's paid off for Pittsburgh.
It certainly has. There are some coolie hats, and those of you who are fortunate enough to see it in color, it must be a tremendous sight. Open stands here, and the concessions on those coolie hats, tremendous. And talking about in color, this game comes to you live and in color, exclusively on NBC, All-Star Game, World Series. 1-2 pitch. Slow curveball outside.
Stargell's already hit as many home runs this year as he hit all of last year, 21.
Off the end of the bat again, count remains 2-2. Five to 1, National League leading. We are in the top half of the 5th inning. Struck him out on a curveball. Batty drops it, has to tag him. Pete Rickard has his second strikeout. American League has some action going in the bullpen.
Richie Allen.
And here is Richie Allen. Sluggers like to dig in. Some of them need permits the way they dig in. Strike one. Richie Allen popped at his shortstop and was out on strikes. Sam McDowell of the Cleveland Indians warming up for the American League. Strike two. And it'll be interesting if McDowell would happen to come in and Koufax come in, because when they start talking about McDowell, it's a comparison to Koufax. They say he is faster, he isn't faster. We'll have to wait and see. 5 to 1 is the score, top of the 5th, National League leading. Line drive, base hit into center field. Davalillo cuts it off, and Richie Allen has himself a single. Two men out, Richie Allen at first base, and Joe Torre is the hitter. Torre hit a 2-run homer, a tremendous shot in the first inning, and lined hard to Brooks Robinson. This is the franchise, this Torre. He's one of those ball players. You almost want to stick him in a deep freeze overnight to make sure nothing happens. Good catcher, good first baseman, 300 hitter with power, and durable. Curveball hangs high, ball one. Fouls it back. 1 ball, 1 strike. $46,000, over $46,000 here at Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington. High fastball and strike two. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. 5-1, National League leading. Top half of the 5th inning. Richie Allen at first base. Foul ball, right side, deep. Count remains 1 ball, 2 strikes. Killebrew holds Richie Allen. At first base, Dick Sisler, the coach. National League jumped out to a 5-0 lead in the first 2 innings. Line drive. McAuliffe has it, and Joe Torre, who should be 3 for 3, has just made his second out. He has hit the ball hard every time up. So at the end of 4.5 innings, the score is National League 5, American League 1. Pinto is now at third base, and that's the only change, as Vic Davalillo comes up in the bottom of the 5th. 5-1 is the score. National League out in front. There's Ron Santo of the Chicago Cubs, and he's in about 5 steps as Davalillo can, will, and looks like he might bunt. Ball 1.
You know, when this fella Davalillo plays winter ball, Venezuela plays the outfield and pitches, and hits about 390.
Good little ball player. He fouls one off 1-1. It's a funny little guy. I remember when he first came up, they asked him who gave him the most trouble. He said, Camille Pascual. And I said, when'd you hit against him? He said, on television. Pascual was getting him out on TV. 2 balls and a strike. Can really run. Very rarely strikes out. Vic Davalillo. Pops this one up. Ron Santo at third base. And there's one away. Earl Batty, the hitter. Batty, who wears the protective helmet on the left side, the side facing the pitcher, coming all the way down past his ear. And the on-deck hitter has come out for the American League. Foul ball, strike 1.
When Maloney's pitching, you'll see a lot of foul balls.
Jim Hall is the on-deck hitter. He will be the pinch hitter. Batty hit into a double plays last time up. 1 ball, 1 strike. Five to 1, National League leading. Bottom half of the 5th inning. Curveball, just hung. Batty wears a glove to protect the middle finger on his left hand. He caught a foul tip there. His description of it was, he said, I didn't catch it, I tried to spear it. And it was really puffed. Pete Rose at second base has it. And Batty was out at about 20 feet. Here is Jim Hall.
Number 7, Jimmy Hall.
This fella a fine hitter. And like Earl Batty, he wears a protective helmet to cover the side all the way past his ear. You can just barely see it there as it kind of sticks down. Strike 1. Hall hitting .325. 16 home runs, 52 runs batted in for the Minnesota Twins. 5 to 1's the score. Bottom of the 5th, National League leading. 1 ball, 1 strike. Fastball misses. 2 balls, 1 strike. The on-deck hitter you see is McAuliffe. Jimmy Hall, the pinch hitter. 5-1 National League leading, bottom of the 5th. Two balls and 2 strikes. Ball 3, and John Stevens really gave that one a look.
First inning of work for Maloney in the 4th. He got a run, 2 hits, and a walk off of him. This is more like the Maloney who pitches for Cincinnati.
Out of play, a foul ball. He really comes on with the smoke. Ball players have an expression to describe a fastball. They've had many names for it, the Hummer, the Express, got mustard on it. The latest one is, can he bring it in? Well, Mr. Maloney can bring it in. Ball 4. And Jim Hall draws a base on balls. And that brings up Dick McAuliffe. Remember during the World Series they described Bob Gibson, so he can bring it in on Sunday when the trains ain't running. National League loaded with hard throwers. Koufax, Drysdale, Maloney, Gibson. National League leading 5-1. McAuliffe is 1 for 2. Takes the curveball outside, ball 1. He fouled out. Maury Wills in the 1st, and single to right in the 4th, and scored.
Joe, do they change up on this fellow much in the American League?
They sure do, Jack. He's got good power. 1 ball, 1 strike. His size, I mean, as far as height, will fool you. He's not very tall, but he's a strong little guy, and in the Detroit ballpark, he's definitely a home run threat. Here's one well hit. Willie Mays is going back, way back near the warning track, and leaps and can't get it. Home run. There it is, a home run for Dick McAuliffe. Dick McAuliffe has just made this a 5-3 ball game, a tremendous home run with Jimmy Hall on. Here's the replay of McAuliffe hitting. Watch Willie Mays on this one. That was a ball well stroked. Mays gets way up there, but just couldn't get high enough.
If it could have been caught, he would have caught it.
Yes, sir. That was the replay, and here is Brooks Robinson taking a curveball for strike 1. That ball, according to the instant tape measure they have here, 412 feet. Robinson swings and strike 2.
Joe admired the second base umpire, Lou DeMuro. He was really hustling out there to see what Mays was going to do with that ball out by the fence. He liked to see those umpires hustle.
Inside, ball 1. 5-3 the score. Dick McAuliffe with a 412-foot home run. Foul ball. Jack, we were just talking about his power.
Yes, sir, and he put on a little demonstration for the 46,000 plus. You'll recall that a walk with 2 out preceded it, and a walk by Maloney in the 4th inning helped the American Leaguers to their first round. We've got a brand new ball game here.
Bouncing ball, foul. Count remains 1 ball, 2 strikes. Bottom half of the 5th inning, National League 5, American League 3. 2 men out. Jim Maloney against Brooks Robinson. Hot shot. Santo knocks it down and cannot get him. Ernie Banks got out there. Santo, a fine recovery. But Brooks Robinson beats it out there. Santo made 2 quick steps to his right. A low throw, but Robinson beats it out. It's a base hit, and here is the local hero, Harmon Killebrew.
Keep your eye on the seismograph. If this fella hits one right here, this place will go crazy.
Fastball misses, ball 1. Killebrew flying to center field his first time up, drew a base on balls in the 4th. American League having scored 2. It's a 5-3 ball game. National League leading. Popped up, foul ball. Santo near the stands and can't get it. Action in the bullpen as Brooks Robinson comes back to first base. 5-3, National League leading. The left-hander is Sam McDowell. Don Drysdale is warming up for the National League. Curveball, a strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. 5-3, National League leading. Bottom of the 5th inning. Curveball hangs inside, 2-2. And here's the danger pitch right here.
What are you looking for here, Joe? The curveball?
I would say of him, fastball, Jack. Curveball. He'd have struck us both out, although Killebrew just foul-tipped it. A curveball. Harmon Killebrew got just the piece of the curveball as Maloney going for the strikeout.
He was looking for what you were looking for.
There's the fastball, and there she goes. This ball game is tied up.
Fastball that time, and he knew what to do with it. Boy, did he blast it. Mays took about 2 steps and stopped. The manager of the National League All-Stars is coming out. Gene Mock arrives at the mound. They've scored all 5 runs against Maloney.
Here's the replay coming up, and watch him go into this fastball and catch Mays as he knows it's gone. You think Killebrew didn't know that was gone with the first swing? Look at Willie on the right-hand side of your screen. Just watch it. 411 feet from home plate. And he has really been the hero here in the Twin Cities area as he hit a home run with a 3-2 count and 2 outs on Sunday to beat the Yankees. Now comes up to hit a 411-foot home run to tie this game at 5-5. Don Drysdale comes on.
Watching Willie Mays roam around the center field, keeping an eye on him, thought perhaps he may have injured himself when he slammed into that fence chasing McAuliffe's home run, but apparently he's all right.
Well, we're getting all set. Maury Wills is out talking to his teammate Don Drysdale. Colavito is the hitter, and it's a 5-5 ball game.
Earlier, when the ball game was a lopsided 5-0, we said that's going to take the running away from both ball clubs. But that's another aspect we might look for now in future innings.
Strike 1. Rocky Colavito against Don Drysdale. 13-8, Drysdale. Strike 2. And there's action in the bullpen for the National League. That's what Drysdale looks like from the batter's box. 1 ball, 2 strikes. If you ever wonder what the ball players think about when they see Drysdale, like you just saw him, Dick Grote put it best. He said hitting against Drysdale is like a trip to the dentist. Outside, 2-2. Rocky Colavito. Colavito bounced out and singled and drove in a run in the 4th inning. Way outside, 3-2.
Only worked 1 2/3 innings. 5 runs, 5 hits. Struck out 1, walked 2, and the walks hurt him.
Bouncing ball, Pete Rose at second base. In time to get Colavito. That ends it for the American League. And so at the end of the 5th inning, the score in National League 5 and the American League 5.
For shaves big on comfort. Really clean. Get foaming. Gillette Foamy Shaving Cream. Foamy contains K34-hexachlorophene, the antiseptic that actually cleanses your skin while you shave. Foamy supersaturates your beard, keeps it wetter, better all through your shave. For shaves big on comfort. Really clean. Get Foamy. It has to shave better because it's made by Gillette.
There's McDowell, the pitcher, in a new double play combination. Versailles is at shortstop. Bobby Richardson goes in to play second base, and Jimmy Hall goes into center field. There's Ernie Banks, who will lead it off for the National League. And Bill Freehan has come on in to replace Earl Batty. As Banks anxiously waits. 5-5 ball game. Freehan goes out to talk to McDowell. McDowell, who has a great fastball and a real good curveball. And he says the difference in his pitching now is that he just quit listening and went to throwing. Great fastball. Freehan, the last of the two-handed catchers, he won't catch many pitches one-handed. We'll give you the spots of the changes where they'll bat, just as soon as we get them from the press box. You saw Gene Malk out there checking with John Stevens. Versailles is batting in the number 1 spot. Richardson bats in the 6th spot. McDowell bats 7th. And Hall, of course, will bat 9th.
Number 14, Johnny Banks.
Strike 1 on Ernie Banks. Banks singled to left and struck out. Nervous hands of his. Look at him. Strike 2.
I know a couple of pitchers will be happy about this, Joe, and that would be Pappas, who started the game, and Jim Grant, both of whom were scored on, 3 off of Pappas and 2 off of Grant. I'd like another crack at it, but that's impossible, so we'll go from here, 5-5, and they're both off the hook.
1 ball, 2 strikes. A close-up of Sam McDowell. Popped up, Bill Freehan and Killebrew. Freehan's very good on the pop flies, and he makes the play, and attaboy, Bill.
I thought he was going to drop one just for you because you said that.
I've never seen him miss one. 1 out. And here is Pete Rose. And Pete has the very colorful nickname. I like this. They call him Charlie Hustle. He runs down the first base even after a base on balls. Rose walked and struck out. Curveball, a strike.
Rickard pitched a fine 2 innings, no runs, 1 hit. Struck out 2 and walked none, and he kept the American Leaguers as close as they were, and they caught the National Leaguers 5-5.
And it's strike 2. 2 strikes to count. Top of the 6th inning, all tied up, 5-5. 1 man out, nobody on. You turn that one loose. You can hear it pop all the way up here, outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes. McDowell in his delivery really comes from over the top, almost seems to jump as he delivers the ball. Strikeout. Pete Rose is out on strikes. So there are 2 outs.
Number 30, Warren Wells.
6 strikeouts for the American League pitchers. And here is Maury Wills, who bounced out right back to the pitcher back in the first inning and flied to right. And if he gets on this time, he'll really shift the gears. All tied 5-5. 2 outs. High, ball 1. Fly ball, center field. Jimmy Hall coming in fast, can't get it. Maury Wills is on with a single. Calavino almost dared Wills, but he has that pet play. If you throw it behind him, he'll head for second, and now the crowd generates a little bit of electricity here, and there's a conference between Freehan, Killebrew, and McDowell, as you see Sisler talking to Wills. Freehan, I'm sure, just asking, just hold him close.
Killebrew saying it's up to you 2 fellas.
We're going to have a pinch hitter here. Frank Robinson has come out as a pinch hitter. Robinson from the Cincinnati Reds. There you see him.
It's a quick use of Drysdale, and he pitched to only 1 man. And he's through in the ball game. And now you have a little touchy situation. You got a left-hander pitching, so Wills has to make certain if he's going to go that he's going to make it, because they don't want to take the bat out of the hands of Frank Robinson. At least want to give him a swing. So we have an interesting situation here in the 6th inning with 2 out.
It's a big bat.
The Robinson up there and Mays next, Joe. You don't have to do too much running.
Only when they hit it. Wills has a good lead, as you can see. He's trying to measure him. Maury Wills says that if he doesn't have to slide to get back, he doesn't have a big enough lead.
Does McDowell have a good move, Joe?
I would say an average move, Jack. Goes back. Wills has 3 different leads. He has 1 lead where he gets all the way out there and the first move breaks back. He has a 2-way lead, and then he has one where he's way out there and he's in no man's land, but if he gets that and you don't throw over, he's got you. Ball 1. Wills, of course, in this game, I'm sure, like Willie Mays and Henry Aaron, just on their own. They don't have to wait for any signs. If they think they can make it, they have the green light. Two balls, no strikes. You can see that McDowell had Wills leaning back towards first.
I don't think he's too anxious to go, Joe.
No, but he's still getting that good lead, Jack. It must be a tough, tough job to have to hold Wills and pitch to Frank Robinson. Three balls and no strikes. And look at Robinson check with Bragan.
Not with Mays coming up next, Frank. You're going to have to take one.
Wills at first. 5-5 ball game. 2 outs. Top of the 6th. Strike. 3 balls, 1 strike. There's Wills. Strike 2. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Frank Robinson, the pinch hitter for Don Drysdale. Maury Wills at first base. All tied, 5-5.
Mays is giving it to the plate umpire. Willie had started to walk toward the plate. Thought he'd be hitting with 2 on.
Fouls it back. Robinson right on top of the plate. In fact, his elbows at times appear to be right over the inside corner. Literally challenges the pitcher to give him the ball inside. Crowds the plate. gets Frank Robinson. Second strikeout in this inning, that ends it. And so at the middle of the sixth inning, the score is National League 5, American League 5. All tied up, 5-5. And the new pitcher coming in for the National League, Sandy Koufax.
While he's healthy, Mr. Koufax is the boss. However, we're dealing with quite a lineup, and we'll see with Horton, Richardson, and the pitcher McDowell, and there's nothing doing in the American League bullpen. So we'll see how Lopez plays it in this tie ball game in the sixth inning.
Horton bounced out to the shortstop and then tapped to the first baseman. Koufax doesn't have any trick pitches, a fastball and the overhand curveball, the kind we used to call a drop, and then he changes speeds.
They've changed it. Al Lopez inserted Brusales in the number 7 spot, so he'll be following Richardson and be batting in this inning, and the pitcher McDowell hits in the leadoff spot, so he'll continue to pitch.
Two balls, no strikes to count on Willie Horton. Sandy Koufax. Willie Horton takes it high, 3 balls, no strikes. Bottom of the sixth. Tie game, 5-5. Charlie Dressen lets this fella hit 3-0 quite regularly. Let's see if Lopez turns him loose. Takes it high, ball 4, and Horton is on with the base on balls. That brings up Bobby Richardson. And this little fella can do it all. Anything you want to do, bunt, hit and run, hit behind the runner, he can do it. He's a fella you put in the category of you wind him up on opening day and say, go out and have a good year, and then you bring him back in the end of the year, and he's done just that. Takes a curveball high, ball 1. Now Koufax wants to talk to Torrey. Signals aren't complicated in an all-star game. Usually it's just simply 1, 2, and 3. Horton at first, nobody out. Ball 2. Koufax has been wild high, which according to most pitching coaches is an indication that he's not bending into his pitch, standing up too straight. High, ball 3.
Well, this is a rarity right here. Torrey wants to talk to Koufax, see if he wants to switch to another pitch, maybe throw a slider or two, trying to get that ball in there.
The way they're just pulling around there, Koufax can't figure it out, and it's a case of just trying to break the mood. A lot of times, as you say, Jack, you switch off a pitch and it'll get him back in the groove, or even moving him on the mound. Maybe making pitch from the forehand towards third base as opposed to where he's pitching the middle. Or I see he's moving over a little bit at that. There's a strike. 3 balls, 1 strike. Richardson not sure of the signs, and he's going to check with Gutteridge because he wants to know if Horton's running. Richardson, the type hitter that is very effective when the infield is broken up. You start the base runner and somebody has to cover the bag, and Bobby likes to find that kind of a spot, the vacated spot. There he goes, swung on a fly ball, deep left center field. Willie Mays cutting over and makes the play. And Willie Horton has to retrace his steps. Richardson played a little bit of long ball here and fly deep to left center field, and Willie Mays plugged the gap. There's 1 away. And here is Zonyo Versailles.
Koufax wasn't about to get a ball out over the plate for Richardson to handle. He has a great reputation for being able to hit and run, go to the opposite field, so Koufax came in on him and he forced Richardson's hand.
1 out, 5-5 ball game, bottom of the 6th. Swung on and popped up. Maury Wills flips the glasses, taking charge, and makes the play. Koufax changed speeds, took a little bit off the pitch, and Versailles was way out in front.
Number 11, catcher, Bill Freehan.
And here is Bill Freehan from the Detroit Tigers. Tied 5-5. Freehan has 5 home runs for the year. He's had an injury to his bare hand, his meat hand, his right hand. Fastball is high, ball 1.
You're right here. I suppose we should mention Mickey Mantle and Moose Skowron, both of whom had to bow out of the All-Star game after being voted in. Out of here because of injuries. Freehan was added when that occurred.
That's right. Fella hates to miss, but sometimes you just have to. 2 balls, no strikes to count now on Freehan. High fastball, and Freehan now has a count of 2 balls, 1 strike. Some action in the National League bullpen. Dick Farrell of the Houston Astros. It must seem funny for him to be pitching without a dome over his head, Jack. Three balls, 1 strike, and Koufax is just a bit disgusted. He doesn't ordinarily have control problems. Three balls, 1 strike, 2 outs. Fouls it back. And it's 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, base runner on, all tied 5-5, bottom of the 6th. And this 1965 All-Star Baseball game is brought to you live and in color exclusively on NBC. Ball 4, and Freehan draws the base. Fastball. Just threw it right by him. Jimmy Hall is out on strikes. He knew it. And at the end of the 6th inning, the score, National League 5, the American League, all tied up 5-5. Harmon Killebrew, local boy makes good, tied it up with a tremendous shot. And now it'll be Willie Mays. Willie opened this game with a home run. And he drew a base on balls and he struck out. And Jack, if he gets on, he'll try to steal a base or 2.
All right, he'll give it a whirl. A little different situation than it was when Wills was at the plate and they had the pinch hitter Robinson up there. There are no more recent changes for the American League.
And it's a strike. Willie checking the bat. All the participants get 4 bats. They get from different companies, 2 apiece, and it has 1965 All-Star Game on it with your name. The veteran ball players use it, but fellows who are appearing for the first time, they use somebody else's bat and take the good bats home for the den. 1 ball, 1 strike. That tells the whole story, doesn't it? 12th All-Star game. Inside, 2 balls, 1 strike. McDowell has struck out 164 men in 128 innings. You only have to go to third grade to have that tell you something. 3 balls, 1 strike. Top of the 7th inning. We're all tied up, 5-5.
Yeah, there's a fellow on deck who's wearing the collar today, 0 for 3. And when he comes up there, you got to expect a little action. Talking about Aaron.
3 balls, 2 strikes on Say Hey Willie. There's Henry Aaron. One of the fine hitters in all of baseball. As Jack said, he hasn't had a base hit yet, which makes him just that much more dangerous. Foul ball, out of play. Nobody can get it. Willie Mays.
3-1, he turned it all loose, but you could see that time he was going with McDowell.
Protecting the plate. Ball 4. Willie Mays is on. And we might get some action now.
Number 44, Mike Aaron.
Here is Henry Aaron. That's the first base on balls given up by McDowell. Aaron flying to left, hit into a double play and popped to the shortstop. Mays a good lead. He hasn't moved a muscle, has he? Have a pinch hitter coming out. Ball 1. Aaron checking with Fragan. Mays at first. And Clemente has come out of the dugout for the National League. One ball, 1 strike on Henry Aaron. So far, as you can see, there is Roberto Clemente in the on-deck circle. He'll be the pinch hitter. McDowell has had Willie Mays kind of leaning back towards first base. Of course, Willie hasn't seen that much of McDowell. He hasn't been able to measure him, although he played against him in spring training.
You said his pickoff move, McDowell's, is only average, so it has to be the unfamiliarity. He had Will's uncertain, too.
Foul ball, out of play.
Joe, if they were enforcing that balk rule like they did a couple of years ago, well, Mays would be home by now.
Hey, Clemente loosening up. He'll replace Stargell, the left-handed batter. Of course, Clemente a fine hitter. In fact, that's a pretty good tip-off on a power of this National League team. Clemente not a starter, or Frank Robinson for that matter. Curveball, 2-2. All tied up, 5-5, top of the 7th inning. Nobody out, Willie Mays at first base. Base hit to right field. Mays is rounding second. He's going to come on over, and it's first and third. Nobody out for the National League, and Roberto Clemente will be the pinch hitter for Willie Stargell.
It's nothing unusual to see Aaron hit the ball the way he did in the opposite field. And a lot of hitting room there. Got it rather close to Richardson, but Bobby was playing him more to pull, and the ball got through. And you noticed how Mays watched Colavito while he took each step on the way to third base.
Mays just doesn't need much coaching. Freehan out talking to McDowell. Clemente, a tough man to pitch. He is from the same school as a Yogi Berra or Joe Medwick, the bad ball hitter. In fact, the great description of Mr. George Sisler, the Hall of Famer, who says he's a good bad ball hitter, but a better good ball hitter. And a fellow that when you try to waste a pitch, you may be in trouble. Tough man to double up and gets the bat on the ball. Roberto Clemente. Nobody out. 5-5 the score. Bouncing ball. Robinson goes to second base to Richardson, and Willie Mays just dared him. And Mays stayed at third base, dared Richardson. There was no play at first.
Ordinarily, with men on at first and third, and this is true in all of baseball, on a ball hit like that, a potential double play ball, the man from third has to come home. Right, Joe?
I thought Willie was going to come in to stay in a rundown and hope to move him up a couple bases, but he didn't. There is Clemente.
And by staying where he was, and he would have come home had Richardson thrown the ball to first, you can bet on that. But he's still at third base rather than being out at the plate had he broken for the plate.
Ron Santo takes a low, ball one. Have an unusual play. Usually you'll see the rundown play, but Willie Mays, who, as we said, he needs no coaching. He's got a pretty good idea when he gets on the bases.
I'm surprised Robinson went for two with Clemente.
Down the right field line, but curving foul. Robinson made a real good play in looking at Mays and kind of faked him back a little bit. And once he stopped Mays, then he went to second base willing to take the one out and keep the double play in order.
I guess, Joe, it's just a matter of two good ball players doing the right thing, Mays and Robinson.
That's about it, Jack. Very well put. Bouncing ball up the middle, and Versailles cannot make the play. Willie Mays scores. It's a 6-5 ball game. Bobby Richardson and Versailles crossed over. Versailles could not make the play at first base. Santo has a base hit, and it's 6-5. National League out in front.
In case the fans are wondering, McDowell is on his own. Here's that play again, and you could see that their only possible chance was at first base, and they couldn't get that one when Versailles couldn't handle the ball. They had no force out, and Mays scored easily. Started to say that McDowell's on his own. There's no one in the bullpen, so this could be a big inning for the National Leaguers with right-handed hitters coming up.
Joe Torre is up there now, and he has really hit the ball hard. He had a two-run homer and then lined out hard twice. Bouncing ball to McDowell. He goes to Bobby Richardson in second. One out over the first, a double play. 1-4-3. A double play. National League takes the lead, and so at the middle of the seventh inning, the score is National League 6 and the American League 5.
It's cleanup time for the 65 Plymouth Fury, the biggest, plushest Plymouth ever. The 65 model year is almost over, and the 65s have to go. Save now on all 22 big, plush Fury models. Convertibles, hardtops, sedans, wagons. It's open house with big cleanup savings on all the roaring 65s at your Plymouth dealers now. You're invited.
Well, the National League new pitcher now is Dick Farrell. Have action in the bullpen for the American League, as we're going to have a pinch hitter coming up. And you'll hear a tremendous hand for this pinch hitter, who is Tony Oliva from the Minnesota Twins.
For the American League. Batting for the pitcher, Sam McDowell.
There's Roberto Clemente in left field, who replaced Stargell. Farrell warming up with Torre, as Oliva will be the pinch hitter. As the American League goes to a pinch hitter, we have action in the bullpen. There you see Eddie Fisher from the Chicago White Sox, a knuckleballer.
When Willie Mays crossed the plate in the top of the seventh, it was the 18th time he has scored in these All-Star games, and that extends the record he already held.
Tony Oliva. Oliva, who, as you watch the different habits of these hitters, a fellow who constantly go to his mouth to keep his hands moist. There's a bad knuckle. And many times will lose his bat in his swing. Kind of throw the bat at the ball. Strike one. No set way to play this fella. He hits all over. Just sprays the ballpark with base hits. Down the left field line, down the right field line. You just kind of throw the ball and have your defense fan out. Bouncing ball up the middle. Rose will have a close play, and they just do get him. A high bouncing ball will leave up out at first base, and it brings up Brooks Robinson. 6-5, bottom of the 7th inning. The National League out in front.
Rose made a good play, Joe. Got a lot on that ball from the position in which he found himself. That used to be his big weakness.
High bounce did it. Here's a fastball outside, ball one. And Oliva can get down the line. A good shot at that background. Ball two. You can really see the ball. Popped up Ernie Banks in foul territory, and Banks makes the play. 2 away.
Sparrow has compiled a record of 7-2, earned run average of 2.30. They got a little strength battle right here, Joe, because Sparrow throws that fastball and slider.
Strength against strength right here. Harmon Killebrew tied it up with a tremendous home run, a good fastball hitter against Dick Farrell, a good hard-throwing fastball and a hard-throwing slider. Strike. One ball, one strike. Killebrew's a long way from the plate, but he strides right into the ball. And when he hits it, well, you've seen it. 2 balls, 1 strike. Three balls and a strike. Farrell trying to keep the ball away from Killebrew. Those arms on that Killebrew. Waist up. Tremendous power. It's like a baking soda ad. Ball 4, Killebrew draws the walk. And that brings up Rocky Colavito. It's a 5th walk. And then base on balls in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. Colavito, who bounced out, single to left, and bounced out to the second baseman. 2 men out, 6-5, National League leading. Bottom of the 7th. Outside, ball 1. Off the end of the bat in a foul ball, Santo and Wills, and Santo takes it. And so at the end of the 7th inning, the score is the National League 6 and the American League 5.
A change for the National League at shortstop, replacing Maury Wills, Leo Cardenas, Chico, fine fielding shortstop of the Cincinnati Ball Club, and coming in to pitch is Bob Gibson of the St. Louis Cardinals. And the hard-throwing right-hander is 10-7, won his first 8 games of the year, lost his next 6. And here's Willie Horton leading off. He's 0 for 2. National League leads by 1 run. Gibson started to work. he does. Curveball fouled back. Call it a curveball, but really it's difficult to discern between his slider and his curveball. He throws it harder, that slider so hard, and it really jumps. Difficult to tell at times. But he's out in front of Horton. Horton with 20 home runs for the year. Look out. 1-1. Marichal started, and Maloney, Drysdale, Koufax, Farrell, now Gibson. He's the 6th pitcher. One ball, 2 strikes. Put that ball down to Horton. One change at the start of the inning. Cardenas is at shortstop. Third baseman Santo playing near the line, trying to prevent that extra base hit. Low, 2-2. This is the leadoff man in the bottom of the 8th. National League got 3 in the first, 2 in the second, led 5-0. 1 for the American in the 4th. The 4-run rally in the 5th tied it. And the National Leaguers got 1 in the 7th, driven in by Santo. 2-2. Got him with a breaking ball. So Horton is 0 for 3, and Gibson fans, the first man he takes on.
Number 1, Bobby Richardson.
Here's Bobby Richardson. 1 at-bat in the game. He flied to left. Richardson hit against Gibson in the World Series of last year. One for the second baseman, Pete Rose. Richardson hit it off the end of the bat, and there are 2 out. Gibson fooled him with a breaking ball. 2 men gone.
Number 2, Darrell Messiah.
Here's Versailles. He insists on the pronunciation, doesn't he, Joe?
Well, you go up to him, and he'll give it to you as often as you want to ask for it. Julio Versailles. And he's very emphatic about it.
He's 0 for 1 in this ball game. Popped out. Takes a ball. 2 out, nobody on. 8th inning, 6-5 National League. Ball 2. 46,706, standing room only, at Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington, Minnesota. Close-up look at Bob Gibson from Omaha. 2 balls and a strike. American League has used 5 pitchers, the National 6. Breeze whipping up now. You can see the trouser legs flapping. He held up, 3-1. If you're wondering about a home run, Versailles has hit 10 this year. Appears to be what the American League needs now, 3-2. Get that ball in on him. 2 out, nobody on, 3-2 on the hitter. Freehand would be next. These big hitters may not come up again for the American League. Ball 4. So Gibson struck out the first man, got the next on a ground ball. Walked for saves. Here's Bill Freehand. He walked his first time.
Good base runner, Jack. If he gets a jump, he may try to steal it. Gibson, a good athlete. But of course, the American League trailing by a run, we may see something.
Torrey can throw and Versailles can run. What will happen, if anything? Freehand, a base hit. Let's see if Versailles tries to go to third. He's trying, and May's got a crack at him. Safe. The other runner to second, and no throw. Versailles challenged Willie Mays. A very aggressive play with 2 out here. And on the throw, Freehand went. I tell you, if Santo hadn't dropped that ball, Joe, he may have cut Freehand down at second base.
It'd have been close. It would have been close, and that's the kind of thing that makes baseball the game that it is.
So it's second and third with 2 out. Let's watch the play again.
Here's the, watch him challenge him when he gets around second base. He took a look at him, stumbled a little bit, but kept on coming, and Santo dropped it in the act of throwing.
You'll believe he would have had him. Freehand was only about halfway down to second base. The bag was covered by Rose, so there was a key play in this ball game. Now Gibson has to get Jim Hall, although there is a base open. And now the big hitters will come up again for the American League in this game. Strike out in front. Versailles is the tying run at third. Freehand, the potential lead run, is at second base with 2 out. Gibson has to get Jim Hall, who has walked, scored, and struck out in this game. Fly ball for Willie Mays, and he almost fell down, but got the ball. Mays started in, and when he tried to go back, his feet went out from under him. He ended up leaning on one hand and then went back and had to leap. Willie didn't panic. He made the catch, and the American League leaves 2 men on. And so at the end of the 8th inning, the score still National League 6, American League 5. We go into the 9th inning of this All-Star game with the National League leading by only 1 run, 6-5. Things are the same for the American Leaguers. Fisher and Freehand forming the battery. Alvis at third. Rosales at shortstop. Richardson at second base and Killebrew at first. Horton in left. Hall in center and Oliva in right. And Hank Aaron leading off for the team directed by Gene Mock. And Henry has 1 out of 4. A base hit that helped to get that lead run in the 7th inning. Fisher, the knuckleballer, in his 2nd inning of work. They didn't score off of him in the 8th. It's a fly ball foul, out of play. You want to look ahead to the 9th inning. It will be Oliva, Alvis, and Killebrew. So the American League will have a crack at it, Joe.
Say, anybody in this lineup in this ballpark, Jack, this thing 6-5, that 1-run lead gives you a little bit of breathing, but not much.
1 strike on Aaron leading off. There, the high fly ball to left to Horton. And he makes the catch. Even a routine fly ball like that scares you in this ballpark.
Number 21, Roberto Clemente.
Coming to the plate is Clemente. 0 for 1. Roberto missed all of spring training, stricken with malaria. He's come back to put a good season together. Here's one to the shortstop. Versailles throws him out. There are 2 quick outs, and it looks like Fisher might just keep the National League right there. The National League has out-hit the American 11-7. Stick around for the bottom of the 9th. It was 5-0. It's now 6-5. Here's Santo, who drove in the lead run in the 7th with an infield single. His only time at bat. A ball. Joel Lopez handled his pitching to the point where he had his favorite pitcher, Fisher, out there to finish the game. Ball 2.
Freehan is doing a good job with that knuckleball, Jack. There haven't been many balls get by him at all.
Earl Batty of the Twins said to Lopez, when you bring in those knuckleballers, you bring in another catcher, will you?
And he was speaking for all the catchers since the beginning of time.
Low again to Santo, and that's ball 3. In this situation, it's not inconceivable that Santo would be swinging on 3-0. Joe Torre's in the on-deck circle, but there are 2 out. Santo, a pretty good cripple shooter. 3-1. The thing about a knuckleball pitcher, he has to be able to throw that knuckler on 2-0, 3-1, 3-2. So that's what Santo will be looking for. That's what he gets and misses 3-2. 2 out, nobody on. 3 and 2 on Ron Santo. And another one for Versailles. 1, 2, 3. So, an exciting last of the ninth is coming. Totals to this point, and if it stays as is, Koufax will win, McDowell will lose. And Joe, you couldn't ask for a better all-star game than this.
Jack, this is one of the few all-star games where the fans have been able to see two things, I think. One is to see a lot of the players that are on the ball club and still have the real good ball game. Koufax, for example, was in this game. Drysdale was in it. Usually they just come, put an appearance, and that's it. But they've used a lot of pitchers. Both managers have used a lot of players. And here it is, bottom of the ninth inning, a one-run lead for the National League. So it's been a good ball game with the fans getting a chance to see a lot of the players that they wouldn't ordinarily get to see.
The National League has not used Callison of the Phillies, Johnny Edwards of the Reds, and Ed Cranepool of the Mets, along with Sammy Ellis, the Cincinnati pitcher, and Bob Beal of the Pirates. Those are the only players that haven't gotten into the game. Here's Tony Oliva leading off in the bottom of the ninth against Bob Gibson, who's trying to nail down the win for the National League. We haven't seen Pepitone. He's the only non-pitcher who has been in the game. Gibson to Oliva. Out of play, strike one. We haven't seen Bob Lee, John O'Donohue, or Mel Stottlemyre. So only 5 have missed it for the National League, and only 4 for the American League. Bottom of the ninth, 6-5 National League. Tony Oliva 0 for 1 in the game. At the knees, Gibson out in front, 0-2. Oliva having another good year. 12 home runs. Play him straight away. There's a base hit into left center field, an extra base hit, and that'll be the tying run on either second or third. And it's a double for Oliva to start the bottom of the ninth. Gibson had him set up. Had him set up, but he got away. I was about to ask you, Joe, if he had power to the opposite field, and he just showed it.
He's got power all over, and Sam Mealy out talking to him now, and I'm sure just going over basic base running plays. He gets the bat on the ball is what he does, and his manager, Mealy, who is the coach at first base, says he'll never go into a slump because he's tough to strike out, and you can't play him any set way, and he just showed it right here by hitting his shot to the opposite field.
Now, the American League, the home club, let's see how they play it. If they go for the tying run, that is, will they be bunting? Just what will they be doing? Alvis is the batter. He bunts in the air, and Gibson's going to get it. Well, they wasted it out there, as it turned out, because Alvis got the ball up in the air, and here's Killebrew. He was a hero Sunday with a game-winning blast against the Yankees. He was a hero here in the 5th inning with a 2-run homer that tied at 5-5. And he could really be a hero in this all-star game. Oliva, the tying run. They have some great arms in that outfield, but Oliva can run. He held up. Killebrew and Pepitone, who is on deck, will have a chance to get this tying run home. Runner at second, 1 out. He missed it, 1-1. That was a big play, Joe, on that bunt by Alvis.
Yes, sir. The little bunt, the ground ball to the right side would have picked up the extra base, which is what Al Lopez wanted to do, give an out for a base, but he gave up the out and didn't get it.
Oliva's able to get a good lead off of second. They have to play pretty much straight away for Killebrew. Foul, strike 2. So just as he had Oliva set up, Gibson has Killebrew set up. 1 ball, 2 strikes. I'd have to say, Joe, this game has been extremely well managed. Lopez ended up with Eddie Fisher pitching and Pepitone remaining to pinch hit. Killebrew, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Curveball fouled it. Tried to go the other way in the breaking ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes it remains. (6-5) National League. The American League has the tying run at second with 1 out. And Killebrew strikes out. Gibson threw it by him at the knees. And Joe Torre giving Gibson that old pep talk, shaking the fist at him.
He's got to let out. There's no pitching strategy when you got the tying run in scoring position in the 9th. You just rear back, and as I've heard so many baseball people say, you get him out with the pitch that got you here, and the fastball did it for Gibson.
Ernie Banks came over from first base, reminding Gibson, I'm sure, to be sure to cover in case the ball is pulled on the ground by Pepitone, who is the pinch hitter, Joe Pepitone. The American League will lose it here, keep it going, or win it. In on him, strike 1. A great ball game here. We hope that you've been with us all the way. Oliva, leadoff double in this 9th inning. Alvis popped out, Killebrew fan. 1 strike on Joe Pepitone. 1-1. Play him way around. Hank Aaron in the right field corner. Willie Mays on the right field side of second. Big gap is in left center. Pepitone has hit 9 home runs this year. Laid off, 2 balls and a strike. Willie Horton, a right-handed batter, will be up there next if Pepitone is not retired. We're in the bottom of the 9th, 2 out. That's the tying run at second. This is a close-up look at Pepitone. He's the man on the spot at the moment, along with Bob Gibson. 2 balls and a strike. 2-2. Oh, he's gotten away with a couple of pitches that have been up. The first one was in quite a bit, but this one wasn't.
This one more than the other one, because as you mentioned, he got the first one in. This one was just hanging. It's not really a snapping curveball that he's throwing. It's a rolling curveball, and he got away with it definitely.
He got Killebrew on a fastball. He has Pepitone 2-2. 2 out, a runner at second, the tying run, and a slider foul.
That was the good one.
He had Pepitone pulled, and Joe was fortunate to get some wood on that one. So there's Oliva, still at second. 2-2 on the hitter. Gibson to Pepitone, and ball 3. He almost chased it. Full count, 3-2. This ball game going right down to the last inch. If a ball game can go to the inch. Not a fan is left, and more than 46,000 were on hand. Still are. 3-2 to the hitter. What will Gibson throw? That's the winning run. He struck him out, and the ball game is over, and the National League win it. 6-5. 2 strikeouts in the inning, under pressure by Bob Gibson, who said before the game there wasn't a way in the world he could possibly work in the ball game. Leadoff double by Oliva is wasted. 8 men stranded by the American League. The National League wins it by the score of 6-5. It was a dandy, Joe.
Yes, it was, Jack. It was a game, as we said earlier, that saw a lot of ball players, and yet a ball game that went down right down to the last pitch, 3-2, when Gibson, in a jam, was able to get Pepitone. 6-5, a tremendous ball game here. The winner was Koufax, the loser was McDowell.